Alright, very warm welcome back everyone. Today we want to build a template because I usually start with one. I'm not planning to do some orchestral stuff here, but just a rather simple template so you can basically just get on writing your songs and not have to configure everything. In this video we'll first take a look at what we want to establish in the project window, and then we'll talk over the mixer one in the next video, but I'd rather keep this very simple. So I'd probably be also explaining some things, but not as in depth as I would usually be doing it. So first we want to have a look at our input and output channels that we already have. So in this case we have our stereo outbus, and what I would like to do is divide our track list here. I tend to prefer to have my most important channels on this upper part here, so I can basically have a look at them in fully without having to navigate in my project window. And the first thing I want to do is add another group track. So the group track will then be my master track, which is basically the point where everything is gonna be routed to, but not stereo outbus, because this has the reason that the stereo outbus cannot be used to take its signal and use the signal for anything else, but as it is the last point in the chain, we cannot do so, but we have to use a group track for that, and this is the purpose of the master track. So everything will be aggregated to this. Then I also want to make those give those a different color. So in this case I want to have my, what is this, master color here. So if you want to create those colors, project color setup, and then you have your color set, you can duplicate those, and then if you click on those, you can freely change whatever color you want to have. So next thing we want to have is basically the unique tracks. So in this case, not any more group tracks, but we want to have an arranger track and a chord track. I do not tend to use the arranger track that often, but the chord track is something I use very prominently. So I'm always adding this one. And the third one would then be a marker track, which I would probably, or can just probably call it song, which will then be my marker for every section that I have in the song, so I can immediately navigate to the parts of the song. So they get all another color, in this case the unique tracks color. I've prepared for that, and now the only thing that is basically missing is a track that we can use to basically start recording right away. So what I want to do is add an instrument track, in this case Helion 6. Output is my master track, as we talked about earlier. And now once Helion is loaded up, I will choose a patch, in this case basically just a simple piano patch I can use to play. And this would then be my composing tool, so to say, right? So if I'm playing now anything, you can hear this. I'm moving this down here, call this composing tool, and give it another color as well. So in this case, maybe also unique tracks. And now one of the reasons why we have this master track here is that we can basically start recording our performances in Cubase right away. And let me show you how to do that, because this is one of the reasons why I still have this group master track here and not got rid of this. So if we create another audio track, in this case, I have to change some of these. In this case, I have to get rid of the input and outputs here. So I'm just calling them to send on no bus. And what I can do now is take my master group as an input for my audio track, right? So what this means, or allows me to do, is basically, if I'm using my composing tool and I'm just recording something, right? Something like that. And remember, if we now go into the mixing console, maybe bring the big one up here, we have the composing tool rooted on the master bus, and the master bus will then route back out to the stereo out bus, right? But on the other hand, we have this master group, which is also the input for our audio track, which means that everything that is played back on the master track will automatically be routed to everything that uses this master track as an input. So in this case, our audio file. So what this allows me to do is basically just recording on this track, on this audio track. And what we hear is basically the performance that we had in our composing tool. So if I'm now muting the composing tool and want to play back the audio file, you cannot hear anything because this is muted, or rather sent to no bus. But if I'm now calling it to send on stereo out, you hear my performance, right? So this is one neat tool that you can use. In this case, I've always done so for my 5.1 performances. So I had a template once where I used 5.1, and then I did like the conversion down to quad and stereo channel, and then I used this this technique to have like 3 audio tracks, which are then recording simultaneously for the 5.1, the quad, and the stereo setup. So I do not have to do some other workarounds there. And this is one of the reasons why I stick to this master channel. So now this is already very good that we have this, but if we now want to have a loop going on, so we can basically immediately start writing our own music, you might have the problem that you're starting to write your song at bar number 1, and maybe we should do a little example for that. But you do want to have something before that. So what I want to do now is basically just add more bars in front of this one, right? What I'm going to do is go to project setup, and then you have this display bar offset. If I'm setting this to 2 right now, I do want to keep my position. Then what this allows you to do is basically add bars in front of the performance that you've already written, and extend basically there. So let's say, for example, you have an audio file that is not nailing completely on beat. So you want to move this to the left, but the problem is you cannot do this if you're starting at 1, and 1 is basically your starting point, and you do not have anything going on before that. So this is one of the reasons, or one of the things you can use in order to keep the placements there, but add bars in front of this, and then actuate, or then use your loops, or reset your loops in order to put this all together. I think this concludes the project window file, if I'm not mistaken, and in the next one we'll then take a look at the mixing window and how we can actually save this template.